Good evening, and welcome once again to Hallowicked's Arcade of Terror, where we subsist on a strict diet of games that include truck stop killers, cattle mutilators, conventionally unattractive mermaids, beholders, molders, holders of the boulders, and money folders. And as always, we do it all for the glory of Nazmaldun. It's that time of the year where I send out one of my faithful to go pick up the letters, packages, and parcels that arrive from the world over. The U.S. Post Office is one of the few places left where my minions can simply blend in with the other freaks that frequent the establishment. So I always make sure to send my most abnormal specimen. This time, the honor went to Eye Gouger, whose appearance is typically enough to make the skin crawl. But at the local post office is just another customer in a never-ending lineup of living atrocities. Now keep in mind, these are blind items, so I'll be seeing the contents for the first time right along with you. First, we have a letter from a Kenneth J. Hill. Standard death threat, nothing we aren't used to seeing here at the dungeon. But let me tell you, Ken, when sending a letter like this, maybe don't include your return address. I'll be paying you a visit as soon as we wrap up filming here. But you're not gonna see this video, are you? So instead of wasting my breath advising you on the correct way to send a death threat, let me send a shout out to my man Blind Rage. We believe in the cause and we're all counting on you. Along with the mail pickup, it's also that time of the year for the big game. The most anticipated sporting event in the United States. The championship, the finals, the big bowl. So, in the spirit of that, I'll be playing football game for the PC. And my experience with sports simulation games is zero. And my knowledge of American football isn't much higher than that. The only fact I do know is that Bill Belichick is the most prolific cheater in the history of all sports. So, a sports simulation game about football should be quite the eye-opener. As I said, football game is a PC game, so I'll be getting another rep in on the custom-built machine. And after going through more blood boys than I cared to have buried, I had the wizards and warlocks down in the lab cook us up a blood magic spell to keep the PC running coolly and efficiently, without the need for a living blood donor. Much like the mail I'll be opening this evening, I'm going into football game completely blind. In fact, Snake Mother just searched for football games and installed the very first result. So without further delay, let's strap on a helmet, pull up an athletic supporter, and hike our way into football game. You play Tommy, star quarterback, who still lives with his parents. Is Tommy in high school? Is this a career mode that simulates all the way back to your high school playing days? If so, what an incredible depth of gameplay. You'll have to drug your mom, and then break into her bedroom to steal from her, all before we can even leave to go to the stadium. If this is what the average football player needs to do for game day prep, then I have seriously underestimated the average football player. Our next correspondence comes to us from an Annie Trax. Looks like another letter, but this one contains a powdery white substance. Whoa, that is anthrax! Wow, very 2001 of you, Annie. But at least you did have the foresight not to include your home address on the envelope. Anthrax, that's good. I'm gonna let this attempt on my life slide. We finally arrived at the stadium, but apparently need to track down our girlfriend Susie before being allowed into the locker room to get equipped. No one seems to have any idea where Susie is, and many are surprised that we are even on the premises. I myself am confused at the amount of puzzle solving we need to do to be able to get dressed for the game, but that may just be my ignorance of the rules of the sport. At one point, we get back in our car and leave the venue to check if Susie is at home, which of course she is not.
I'm sorry, is this part of the football game normally televised, or do they usually leave it out?
This next package comes to us from a Calypso Sage. Appears to be some sort of voodoo doll or a talisman in my likeness. Very detailed, expertly done. That said, I'm going to have to assume it's either haunted or cursed and store it as such. Worm Food, we have an extra Dybbuk box we can throw this in?
I'm beginning to doubt there will be any football played in this game. I've had to buy cigarettes, barter for a lighter, trick some children into smoking those cigarettes, and then narc on them just to get access to the locker room. After all this, it turns out Susie isn't even at the game. I ended up wandering through the woods in search of her. Not a single snap was taken. No tackles. No unnecessary roughness. No concussion protocols. Is this even football?
Next, we have a package from a Willow Nightingale. No way. Can't be. The same Willow Nightingale? Yeah, that's a Willow Nightingale t-shirt. Why would she send me this? Is this some sort of intimidation tactic? We don't even have a match coming up. What goes to the diabolical mind of a Willow Nightingale? I shudder to think. No, I'm not gonna wear it. Football game does not appear to be an accurate representation of the game of football, unless my limited understanding of the sport is completely warped. That said, it is a great game, and if you're into dark atmospheres and the overwhelming sense that you're slowly going insane, I fully recommend it. Moreover, the game only costs $2. You can't buy a stadium hot dog for that price. In conclusion, football game is a touchdown, and there'll be no review on that play. Aside from the review of the gameplay, which you have already witnessed. Until we meet again, remember to tune in to IWTV for the latest episodes. Follow me on Twitter and at twitch.tv/Arcade of Terror. Snake Mother, she's on the verge of a breakthrough, the verge of greatness itself. She just needs you to follow. It costs you nothing. Not following could cost you your very life. So click the button or die. These are your options. What's that, Worm Food? Oh, it seems we have one more package to open before we go. Here, we have one last package here from Sarah the Dark Mistress. Not a name I'm familiar with. Let's see what she got us here.